In this video, we are going to build this AI resume analyzer website using React, Tailwind, and Puter.js. If you're looking for a fun and practical project to learn how to build AI-powered websites, this project is for you. Using the website is pretty simple. Users can upload their resumes and get a detailed analysis done by AI. The analysis shows ways users can improve their resumes and provides insights into their strong and weak points using visual metrics. Building this project will be a very fun way for you to learn about creating AI-powered websites. It's going to be beginner-friendly, easy to follow, and it will look great on your portfolio. The best thing about this project is that for AI integration, you won't need an API key or any other configurations and setups. We will handle all of this using Puter.js, a front-end library that connects our project to AI with just one line of code. And it provides easy-to-use functions for creating AI features. To make this even easier for you, I will provide a starter code with everything we need inside, so you can jump right in and code along with me. By the end of this video, you will have the skills to create your own AI-powered websites in the most easiest and quickest way possible. So, let's get into it. So, this is the starter code that we are going to use. You can download it from the link in the description. It's a React project with Tailwind inside, created using Vite. Let's take a look at what's inside. Inside the app.jsx, we have this background with a h1. It's practically empty. Inside index.css, I have some predefined Tailwind classes to make it easier for you to code alongside. This comes in with the starter code, so you don't have to type it on your own, and it makes the code a lot shorter. We have some background gradients, simple button designs, and card designs here. Then we have this constants.js file that has some really important stuff inside, so let me show you what these are. First, we have the AI prompt that we will send to the AI to get resumes analyzed. In this prompt, first we explain how the file it needs to analyze should strictly be a resume file, so it does a couple of checks, such as looking for professional background information, education infos, and so on. If it's not a resume file, then we instruct it to return an error with this text in a JSON format. If the uploaded file is a resume, then it's going to start to analyze the extracted text from the PDF. It's going to analyze things such as strengths, improvements, keywords, and create a visual performance metric using these info. There's a lot more instruction down below. You can take a look at the rest and customize it yourself. You can make it even more detailed or less detailed if you like to. But right now, this will be working perfectly when we are done. We have this metric config, which we will be using for creating visual metrics. We have some fallback values in case if AI doesn't return anything. We have these styles for it. And finally, we have this build presence checklist. This is going to help the AI create a score for the resume. It will use these keywords to understand if certain sections exist. We are going to come back to this file when we will start to create the functionality. Inside the HTML file, this is where we connect the project to the AI using Puter. Here in the documentation, you can see this one script tag. All you need to do is to put this inside the head section in your index.html, and then you can basically start to use all of these AI functions that you can see here, like chat, text to image, image to text, text to speech, and so on. For this video, we are going to be using this AI chat function. I will explain how this works when we get there. To make sure this works correctly, there is only one thing you need to do, which is to logging in to Puter.com. Even if you don't, it quickly creates an account for you, but just make sure you're logged in. It's completely free and also open source. You can check its GitHub repo from the link in the description if you like to. And finally, we have this one additional package here, which is PDF.js. To be able to analyze a resume in a PDF format, we need to extract the text from it so that we can send it to AI as a prompt to be analyzed. This is where we are going to utilize PDF.js. It is going to make it easy for us to extract the text out of the PDF files with its functions. And this is pretty much it with this starter code. Now we can start to create the project. Let's start with the imports. First, we are going to import two hooks, use state and use effect. We are going to use state to create state variables and manage state of the component. And we're gonna use effect to create a effect that checks if the AI is loaded into the page. Next, we are going to import some constants from this file. Let's bring in build presence checklist and metric config from constants.js. As I explained a second ago, we are going to use the metric config to create a visual analyze, and we are going to pass this checklist to the AI so it can create a score depending on which sections are present and which of them are not. Next, we are going to import PDF.js. Let's import everything as PDF.js lib from PDF.js dist. Next, we are going to import a worker. The reason why we need a worker is because extracting text from PDF is a heavy job and it will make the app much slower if we leave this on the main thread. Using a worker, we can create a separate thread and basically take the load of the website. So we import the worker. Now that we have the worker, we need to connect this to the PDF.js. So on PDF.js lib, we are going to access global worker options, and as the worker source, I'm gonna set it to PDF.js worker that we have just imported here. And this is basically it with the imports. We have the hooks we need. We have the constants from the constants.js file. We have the PDF.js and its worker. There's a little typo here. This needs to be worker. And now inside the app component, we can start by creating the state variables that we are going to need. First, we're gonna need AI ready, set AI ready. This will have a initial state of false. We're gonna use this to keep track of if AI is ready or not. Then we have is loading, set is loading. This will have a initial state of false as well. We're gonna use this to show a loading spinner on the UI when the app is loading something. Next, we need another state variable to basically store the uploaded PDF file from the users. So let's create uploaded file, set uploaded file. This will have a initial state of null. And we need another variable named analysis set analysis. This will also have a initial state of null. You're going to use this to store the analysis done by AI. And we have the resume text, set resume text. This will have a initial state of empty string. We're going to use this to store the text that we are going to extract from the PDFs. That's why it's a string. And finally, we're going to have the presence checklist, set presence checklist. This will be an empty array. So we have the build presence checklist here. As I said, we are going to feed this to the AI for it to check which sections exist inside the resume. And this is basically where we are going to store the sections it's found, and it will help the AI create a score for the resume. So these were all the state variables that we are going to need. Now we can create the effect to check if the AI is loaded into the page. Create a use effect. It takes two parameters. First, we're going to create the function, and then we are going to decide when it's going to run. We need this effect to run only once the component is mounted, and we can do that by passing a empty dependency array. This basically means run this effect only once. Now inside the effect, I'm going to create an interval that will run for every 300 milliseconds. And inside, we are basically going to check if Puter is loaded. And the way that we are going to do it is when Puter is loaded, it basically connects to the window object. So we are going to check if window.puter.ai. And as I said at the beginning, we're going to need the chat function. So let's check if the chat function exists. And if it exists, then we can set AI ready to true and clear the interval. And outside this variable, we also need to clean up after the effect by using clear interval again. And this is how we check if AI is loaded or not. Next, we're going to create the function that is going to extract the texts from the resume files using PDF.js. Create a function named extract PDF text. This is going to be an async function because we don't know how it's going to last, and it will take time to extract the text out of PDFs. First, we need to convert the PDF to a format that PDF.js can read, which is a buffer. I'm going to use the await keyword, and on the file, I'm going to use array buffer, and in this way, PDF.js can read the PDF file. And now we basically need to tell PDF.js to take the file as a array buffer by using getDocument, and as data we are going to pass the array buffer that we have created. We gotta do this inside curly braces, and this is going to return a promise because, as I said, we don't know how long this is going to last. That's why the function is an async function with await keywords. So once the promise resolves, now we have the PDF file. Next, we will extract every single text from the pages of the uploaded PDF. Let's create a variable named texts. We are going to use the await keyword again. We need to assume the resumes have more than one page. So if someone uploads a resume with 10 pages, that means this function is going to go over every single page, and this can take a very long time and slow the app down. To prevent this, we are going to use promise.all. So even if there's 10 pages, 15 pages, it is all going to get processed in a parallel, so it won't slow down the app. We're going to create an array from the length of the pages of the uploaded PDF. And for every single one of these pages, we're going to get the page. We need to use i+1 because the array is 0 indexed. For every page, we're going to get its text content, and then we are going to map over the text content as well. We are going to access its items and map over it and get the strings. Finally, we are going to join them together to get this one very long string. Finally, we join all the pages together into this one big string, and we are going to separate them by line breaks. So let's use a line break, and we are going to trim it for white space. And this is basically how we extract the PDF out of the text. First, we get the file and convert it to a format that PDF.js can read. Then we basically load that data into the memory, and then we map over every single page inside the PDF. We create an array from the pages, map over the pages, get the text content, and then we map over the text content again to take the string out of them, and finally join them together into this one big string. And after we get all the strings from each pages, finally we join the pages together using line breaks and trim the pages. Next, we're going to create a helper function that is going to parse the JSON response. Let's create a function named parse.json response. It is going to take the reply coming back from the AI. This is going to be a simple function. We're going to create a try and catch block. When there's an error, we are going to catch the error and throw an error that says failed to parse AI response, and we are going to show the error message inside. So first, we are going to make this function check if the AI is properly returned a response in JSON format, because sometimes AIs can respond in weird ways. The way we are going to check is going to create this variable named match, and we are going to use the match method on the reply, and we will use this regular expression, which looks complicated, but it's actually really simple. It basically tries to match curly braces, because in a JSON format there are lots of curly braces, and it checks for any string. And after this, the function is basically going to know if there's an JSON-like object in the AI's reply. So if there's a match, we are going to convert it to a actual JSON object using json.parse. If not, we are just going to return an empty object. Then we also need to check if there is correct information in the reply, such as the overall score. Even if there is no scores and analyze, it needs to return an error. So if there is also no errors, then we are going to throw an error that says invalid AI response. If there are no errors, we are just going to return the parsed JSON object. And this is it with parsing the response. Next, we have the most important function, which is analyze resume. So this is also going to be an async function because we will be expecting an answer back from the AI. First, we need the prompt from the constants.js. So let's create a variable named prompt, and from constants we are going to access analyze resume prompt, and we are going to replace something, which is, if you scroll down at the bottom of the prompt, you can see that we basically need to pass the extracted text out of this function and put it inside the prompt so that we can send it to the AI with all of these instructions. To be able to do that, we are going to replace this document text. Let's copy this. We are going to replace it with the text, which is the text we have extracted out of the resume. Then let's create a response using the await keyword. We are going to send this to the AI. Let's access Puter.ai.chat function. Inside, we need to create a chat structure. There is going to be the system role, and as the content, we are going to pass a very simple system prompt, which is something like you are an expert resume reviewer. Next, we need to create a role for the user, and its content is just going to be the prompt, so the user can only pass this prompt. And finally, we also need to define the model that we are going to use, which is by default GPT-4o, and it's pretty much enough for this kind of processing. Next, this is where we are going to use this parse JSON object function, create a result variable, and using parse JSON response, we are going to check if the response is a string. If it's not, then we are going to take it as a JSON object and extract the message out of it. And we have a fallback of empty strings. If there's a error in the result, then we can throw an error showing the result error. And if everything goes right, then we are just going to return the result. And this is pretty much it with the analyzing section. We get the prompt from constants.js. At the bottom of the prompt, we simply add all the information we extract from the uploaded resume and send this to the AI using Puter AI chat. We define a system role with the content, and we define the user role, which can only send this prompt. And the AI model is ChatGPT-4o. When we get the answer back from AI, we parse it using the parse JSON response function that we created, and we check for errors, and that is it. Next, we're going to create another function named handle file upload, which is also going to be an async function. It is going to take the event. We are going to use this function to check if the user uploads a PDF file, and we are going to start the text extracting process inside this function right after the user uploads a PDF file. First, let's get the file the user uploads. If there is no file or the file type doesn't match PDF, then we are going to return an alert that says, please upload a PDF file only. If the user correctly uploads a PDF file, then we can pass it to the state variable using set uploaded file, and we can pass the file. Then you gotta go into the loading state because we will be starting the text extraction process, and we need to reset set analysis. If there is a analysis left from the previous run, reset the resume text and presence checklist as well to an empty array. Then we're going to create a try and catch block. When we catch the errors, gonna show a alert, gonna say error and display the error message. And then we are going to reset. And finally, when it's done, we can set is loading to false. So inside the try block, gonna create a variable named text using the await keyword. We are going to use the extract PDF text function that we created and pass the file. After the text is extracted from the PDF, now we can store it inside the resume text. And then we are going to utilize the presence checklist. We are going to pass build presence checklist with the text. Just for you to remember what this is, let's click on it. Inside the constants.js file, we have this simple function that basically helps AI to understand if there are certain sections exist inside the resume, such as standard section headings like skill section, education. If one of those sections doesn't exist, it's going to lower down the score of the resume. Then we have the keywords, achievements, action verbs, professional experience, and so on. So after it checks the presence of these sections, we can start the analysis and wait for the analyze resume, pass the text, and this is it. With the handle file upload function, we get the file, we check its type, we reset some state variables, and put the newly uploaded file to the storage. Then we extract the text out of the file. Then we start to analyze it. If there are any errors, we catch the errors. And finally, we set is loading to false to stop it from running. And we have only one function left, which is the simplest one, which is a reset function. We are going to reset set uploaded file back to null, set analysis back to null, set resume text to a empty string, and set presence checklist to a empty array. And that is it with the functionality of the website. Now we can start to create the UI. Let's delete this h1 and create another wrapper with a maximum width of 5x large, mx auto, and width 100%. We're going to create a simple heading section with a h1 with a paragraph right under it. Center the text with a margin bottom 6. Inside the h1, we're going to say AI resume analyzer. Let's make this text bigger for smaller screens. After small breakpoint, it's going to be 6x large. And after large breakpoint, it's going to be 7x large, font light, and create a background gradient to right from cyan 300 via teal 200 to sky 300. I'm gonna clip this text to the background and make it transparent so we can see the background gradient colors with a margin bottom 2. Inside the paragraph, we're gonna have this text. Let's make it slate, text small, and after small breakpoint, it's going to be text base. So under this div, but still inside this wrapper, we are going to create the file upload section. So if there is no uploaded file, then we are going to display this section, create a div. We are going to use one of our predefined classes, which is upload area. And inside, we're gonna have another div. This time, we're gonna use upload zone. And this is how it's going to look like. Inside the upload zone, create a div. And we're gonna display this icon. Let's make it bigger for every screen with a margin bottom of 4. Under this, gonna have a h3. Let's make it bigger as well. And color slate with a margin bottom 2. Let's say upload your resume. Under the h3, we're gonna have a paragraph that says PDF files only, get instant analysis. Let's make this slate as well with a margin bottom 4. On smaller screens, it is going to be margin bottom 6, text small, and after small breakpoint, it's going to be text base. And this is how it looks like. When you hover over it, we have this cool neon shadow at the background. Under this paragraph, we are going to create the input section. The type is going to be file, and it's going to accept only PDF files. On change, we are going to execute the handle file upload function. So when you choose a file, this function that we created before is going to check if it's the correct file type and then start to extract the text out of it. So the input will be disabled when AI is not ready, and we are going to hide this. Let's also give it a ID, file upload. Right under this, we're gonna have a label for it. Let's connect these two together by adding the input's ID and create dynamic styling using curly braces with backticks. This is going to be an inline block level element. We're going to use button primary class, and using $sign and curly braces, we are going to create this simple logic here. If AI is not ready, then we are going to lower down the opacity, and we are not going to allow the users to click on this because if the AI is not loaded, you shouldn't be able to upload a file since it's not going to be processed. Otherwise, we are just going to set it to empty. And inside the label, we are going to say choose PDF file. And this is how it looks like. Then under this curly brace and parentheses, we are going to create a little loading screen. So if something is loading, then we are going to display this div with a padding of 6. After small breakpoint, padding 8, maximum width medium with MX auto. Create another div with text center and another div. This is going to be the loading spinner, and under this we have a H3 analyzing your resume. Let's make this bigger and make it slate 200 with margin bottom 2. Then we're gonna have this paragraph with this text inside, slate 400 with text small and text base. And after this loading screen, now we can start to create the analysis screen. So if there's a analysis done and there is a uploaded file, then we can start to display this section. Gonna give it a space y6, which is going to create space between the elements inside. Padding 4, after small breakpoint, padding 8, and after large, padding 16. Let's create another div with the file info card. Create another one and make this a flex container with flex direction of column. After this small breakpoint, it's going to be flex row. Use justify between to put all the available space between the elements. Use item start. After this small breakpoint, it's going to be item center with a gap of 4. Now this part is going to show a little card that says analysis complete, and it is going to display the uploaded file name. Create another flex container, item center with gap 4. Create this little div for displaying a icon with icon container x large. Create a background gradient to right to bottom right from blue 500 20% to cyan 500 20% with a border blue 500 30%. Inside, create a span and display this document icon with a text 3x large. Under this div, gonna have another one which is going to have this text analysis complete, text x large, font bold. Let's make it green, showing it's successful with a margin bottom 1. Under the H3, gonna have this paragraph that just displays uploaded file and its name, text slate 300, text small, and we are going to use break all to create word break. Under this to div, gonna create another one for a button that says new analysis. Let's make this a flex container with gap 3. So this button is going to call the reset function on click. For the styling, we are going to use the button secondary class. Let's do a quick check to see if we can see this section. So we get this little error on the part where we created this array from. This is probably a little typo. Let's see. And that is it. We cannot use then on this array, so we can delete this one parenthesis and wrap this around from. Let's also make sure we wrap all of this inside this file info card. Let's bring this down over here, and this is how the analysis complete section looks like. Now under this div, we are going to create this scorecard. So let's use this scorecard predefined class. Inside, we're gonna create another div, center the text with margin bottom 6. Create another div, make it a flex container with item center, justify center, gap 2 with margin bottom 3. Inside a span, we are going to display this emoji, make it bigger. Right under the span, gonna have this H2 that says overall score. Let's make it bigger. After small breakpoint, 3x large with font bold and text white. Under this div, gonna create another one, make it relative. Inside a paragraph, we are going to display the analysis score. So analysis.overall score. If we don't have a score, then we're going to have this default value, which is 7. Let's make it bigger. After small breakpoint, it's going to be 8x large. Going to make the font extra bold. Make the text cyan 400 with a drop shadow. Under this div, going to create another one. This time we are going to display the status of the score. Let's use dynamic styling, curly braces with inline flex, item center, gap 2, margin top 3, with a padding on the left and right 4, top and bottom 2, with fully rounded corners. Then we're gonna create this little logic here using parse int. We are going to get the numbers, so analysis overall score. If it's bigger than 8, then we are going to say score status excellent, which is another predefined class name. And if overall score equal to or bigger than 6, we are just going to say status good. And as a default, we are going to use score status improvement. And inside this div, we're going to have this span with a text large. We are going to use parse int again to get the integer. If analysis overall score is bigger than or equal to 8, we are going to display this emoji. If it's bigger than or equal to 6, then we're going to display this. Otherwise, we are going to display this emoji, which basically indicates that there needs to be improvements done. And under this span, I'm going to create another one with font semi-bold, make the text large. Inside, we are going to use parse int again to get the analysis overall score. Again, if it's bigger than 8, we are going to say excellent. If it's bigger than 6, we are going to say good, or we are just going to say needs improvement. In this case, as you can see, the score is 9 out of 10, and it shows this emoji with saying excellent. Now, under these two divs, we are going to create a progress bar using the predefined class. Create a div. Let's make it a circle, rounded full, transition all with a duration of 1 second, ease out with a little shadow. Inside, using parse int again. Inside, if the score is bigger than 8, we are going to use this class, progress excellent. If it's bigger than 6, we are going to show progress good, or we are going to show progress improvement. And this is how the progress bar looks like. Then, using the style property, we are going to set the width dynamically depending on the score. So again, using analysis overall score, we are going to divide it by 10 and multiply it by 100%. We are going to make this progress bar dynamic by using parse int again. We are going to divide the overall score by 10 and multiply it by 100. And as you can see, 8.5 looks like this. Under these two divs, you're going to have this paragraph that shows this text. Let's make the text slate, small, margin top 3, and center it with font medium. Under this div, let's create another section to show strengths. This is going to be a grid. After small breakpoint, it is going to have 2 columns with gap 4. Create another card using feature card green section with a group. Create a div. Make the background green 500 with 20%. Use icon container class mx auto margin bottom 3. When you hover over this card using group hover, we are going to make everything green 400 with 30% and use transition colors. Let's create a span, make it green with X large, and we are going to display this checkmark icon. Under this, a H4 that says top strengths. Let's make it green 300 with text small, font semi-bold. Make it uppercase and put some gap between the texts, margin bottom. Oops, this is going to be outside this div, like this. There you go. So under this h4, I'm gonna create another card to display this strength analysis done by AI. Put some space between the elements inside and align them to the left. Let's map over the analysis of strengths. And we are going to slice from 0 to 3. No matter how many strengths there are, we are going to show 3. You can increase this number if you like to. So for every strength, we're also going to have this index and display a div. Let's also provide a key as index. Let's use list item green class. Inside this span, we are going to display this bullet. Let's make it green. Text small, margin top 0.5, and another span. Let's make it slate 200, font medium, text small, leading relaxed. And this is how the top strength section looks like. So right next to this, we're basically going to have the same thing, but it is going to display main improvements. So we can copy this feature card green, copy and paste it right next to it. Change this to card orange. Change the background colors. Change this emoji from checkmark to this one. Make this text orange as well. Let's change it to main improvements. We are going to map over improvements instead of strength. You're going to get 3 of them again. Let's change this to improvement. This one as well. Change the text color to orange. And looks like we forgot to change this one to orange. And there you go. The website starts to look really good. Let's continue. Under this div, we are going to create another section that shows the executive summary. Let's use section card with group. Inside, we're going to have another wrapper, item center, gap 3, margin bottom 4. We're going to have a icon container with a purple background, 20% opacity. Inside a span, we are going to display this icon. Let's make it purple 300 and make it larger. Under this div, I'm going to have this text that says executive summary. Make it bigger, font bold with text white. Under this div, you're going to have this summary inside a paragraph. So analysis.summary. Use the summary box class. Make this text slate 200 with text small. After the small breakpoint, text base and leading relaxed. Let's see. And there you go. Looks really minimal and nice. Under these two divs, we are going to create the performance metrics card. Let's use section card again with group. We are basically going to create the same type of icon container. Create a div. Make it a flex container with item center, gap 3, margin bottom 6. Create another icon container with background scene 500, 20%. Inside a span, we are going to display this emoji. Let's make it scene 300 with text large. Create a h4, performance metrics. Make the text X large, font bold, and text white. Under this div, let's create another wrapper and give it a space y4. Inside, we are going to map over the metric config. And for every config, first we're going to create a variable named value. And we are basically going to check if the performance metric exists. If it exists, we are going to access the config key. And if it doesn't exist, we are just going to revert back to the default value. Then we are going to return this div. Let's not forget to provide a key. Use group item. Inside this div, we are going to create another one, which will be a flex container, item center, justify between, margin bottom 2. Create another div. Make this one a flex box as well. Use item center with gap 2. Inside, we are going to show the config icon. So config dot icon, make it larger. Under the span, we are going to display the label of the config. Let's make this text slate 200 with font medium. So right now, this is how it looks like. We have the icons and the config names. We are going to create the same type of progress bar for each of these metrics. So under this div, I'm going to create a span that will show the value out of 10. Make it text 300, font bold, and you can see the values at the right. Now under this div, I'm going to create the progress bars. Use progress bar small class with a div. Let's dynamically style this using height 100% with a background gradient to right. Gonna get the config color class, make it fully rounded, use transition with a duration of 1000, ease out, and on group hover, we are going to display a shadow, and we're gonna get the shadow color from config shadow class, and then we're gonna use pure CSS to set the width depending on the value we get. Let's divide it by 10, multiply it by 100, and show it as a percentage. And there you go. As you can see, 9 out of 10 looks like this, 8, 9 again, 7, and it's all dynamic. Next, we're going to create the resume insights section, create another div, and use section card class again with group, create a div, make it a flex container with item center, gap 3, margin bottom 6, create a icon container with a background purple 500, 20%. Inside, we are going to display this icon. Let's make it larger and purple. Right under this, you're gonna have this H2 that says resume insights, text large, font bold, and text purple. Under this div, we are going to create a grid with gap of 4 using info box class with group item class. Inside, we're gonna have this flex container, item center, gap 3, margin bottom 2, display this icon, make it large, and under this, you're gonna say action items with font semi-bold. And under this, now we can display the analysis. And now we can display the analysis done by AI. Let's map over the analysis action items. We are going to display the analysis action items. If there's no, then we are just going to display this fallback text. We are going to map over the existing one. For every single item, I'm going to create this div with a key of index. Let's map over the items. For every single item, we are going to create this div with a class name list item scene. Inside, we're going to display the item and a bullet text scene 400. So right now, this is how it looks like. Next, we have the pro tips card. Create a info box using info box emerald with group item. Create a div with a span that shows this icon and a h3 that says pro tips. Let's make this a flex container with item center, gap 3, margin bottom 2. Let's make this text emerald 300 with font semi-bold. And just like we did here, we are going to create another div here to map over the items analysis.protips. If it doesn't exist, you're going to have this fallback text. Otherwise, we are going to map over the tips. For every tip, I'm going to create a div using the index as the key. Use list item emerald again with 2 spans. The bottom one is going to show the tip itself, and we're going to display a bullet at the top, text Emerald 400, and it should look like this. We have the action items, we have the pro tips. Right under this div, we're going to create the next section, which is ATS optimization. So section card and group again. We can create the same type of icon section using this. Copy and paste it. Change this to margin bottom 6. Wrap this inside a icon container with background violet 500, 20%. Let's put this icon inside and change it to this one. Change this to a H2 and change the text to ATS optimization. Change the color as well. Make the text X large with font bold. Under this div, I'm gonna create a info box violet with margin bottom 4. Create another flex container items start gap 3 with margin bottom 3. Inside this div, we're gonna have this header that explains what is ATS. Let's make this violet. Font semi-bold with a little space at the bottom. Under this H3, gonna have a paragraph, text slate 200 with small, leading relaxed. And inside we're gonna have this text. And under this div, we can show the AI analysis. Info box violet again. Let's copy and paste this icon container. Change this to margin bottom 3. Change the color to violet 400. We can get rid of this icon container. Make this a H3 and change the text to ATS compatibility checklist. Make this violet 300 with font semi-bold and text large. Under this div, let's create the container that we can display the analysis. We are going to map over the presence checklist, and if there's no list, we are just going to fall back to an empty array and map over the existing ones. For every single div, let's provide a key. Make it a flex container with items start, gap 2, text slate 200. Inside a span, we are going to show this checklist of if the items that the AI looked for exists. If it exists, we are going to show this check mark. If it's not, then we can show this X icon. And under this span, we are going to display the item label. Let's create a dynamic styling for this span. If the item is present, then text is going to be green. If it's not, it is going to be red. And this is how it looks like. Next, we have the final section, which is the recommended keywords. Create another div using section card with group. Let's copy and paste this icon container. Change the color to blue and this emoji to a key emoji. Make the text color blue as well. Change this text to recommended keywords. And under this div, create a flex container. Use flex wrap, gap 3 and margin bottom 4. Let's map over the keywords analysis. And for every single key, can display a span using the keyword tag class with group item. And inside we are going to display the key. Right under this div, we are going to have this information box and this paragraph, text slate 300, small, leading relaxed. Let's center the item. Let's place the items start with a gap 2. And we're gonna have this little emoji. Let's make it bigger with margin top 0.5. And under this span, we're gonna have this text. And that is it. And we are done. And that is it. Now let's see if everything is working fine. I will upload a resume file. And there you go. We have the overall score. We have the new analysis button that takes us back to the main page. We have some insights on top strengths. These are all AI generated responses, as well as the main improvements. We have the summary. We have the performance metrics as a visual chart. We have resume insights, action items, pro tips, and ATS checklist, recommended keywords, and everything seems to be working really well. So this is how we can create this AI resume analyzer website using React, Tailwind, and Puter.js. I hope you guys found it helpful and enjoyed it. Thank you for your time, and see you in the next video.